Hey Stampers, welcome to Brandy's Cards. So today I've got a great card for you, a spring card using the Hummingbird out of the Picture Perfect stamp set. And this stamp set is actually in our spring catalog, which the spring catalog runs through May 31st of 2016. And it is absolutely beautiful. So if you turn to page 37 of our spring catalog, you'll see all of these beautiful organic images. You've got the Starfish, which I just posted a card. And then in a couple of weeks, I'm going to share a rose card that I did with this beautiful rose. It is a two-step stamp, so don't be confused by that. It actually just means that there's a couple steps to the stamp, and it just adds detail with every stamp, and it allows you to be a little bit more creative. So I love two-step stamps. It is a photopolymer stamp, completely clear. That's right. And you'll see it here on page 37. It also lists the blocks that you need with that stamp set. I really like this stamp set, and I'm hoping that it makes it into our annual catalog, which goes live in June 1st of 2016. So we're very excited about that. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, let me know. I would love the opportunity to earn your business, answer any questions that you have. So just fill out the form at the bottom of my post on brandyscards.com and send me an email, and I'll be sure to get one of those to you. All right, so let's get started with today's project. So here's the card we're going to make today. Oh, I just think it's beautiful. You are wonderful. I love it. So this is the beautiful hummingbird. Now there are so many different ways that you can do this. You can see here that I used the tiny triangles embossing folder, which added a lot of beautiful detail, quite honestly. I just thought it really popped the subject off the card, sort of in flight. So I love this card. I'm excited to show you exactly how I did it. It's pretty easy. So before we get started here, I'm going to show you, this is the tiny triangles embossing folder that I had shown you. Let's go ahead and just get our embossing done so that we can focus on our stamping. So I have the Stampin' Up! Big Shot. Love this guy. It is a die cutting machine, and it also does embossing. You use your thinlits and your framelits and all those good things. I've got the embossing folder here, and I have 3 strips of white. I'm just going to go ahead and layer these strips of white in my embossing folder. I do have enough room to do all 3 of them at the very same time. That's going to save me just a wee bit of time. So I'm just going to do that all at once. I'm going to hand crank this through. It's very easy to use. Love my Big Shot and my embossing folders. They rock, quite honestly. Look at that. Oh, that's so pretty. So by rolling those through there, now I've got these fabulous triangles, these tiny triangles. Let's go ahead and glue them to our soft sky. So the colors here that I'm using today are Soft Sky, Cucumber Crush, and I'm also using Whisper White. So pretty easy. Soft Sky, Cucumber Crush, and Whisper White. So I'm gluing my tiny triangles right in the center of my strips. Now while I'm doing that, if you're at home and you're going, now Brandy, what are the sizes of those strips? Well, don't worry. I promise you on brandyscards.com, you'll see a post, and on that post, I'll have all the sizes and the dimensions. I will make sure that I share those with you. So please don't worry. I'm not going to post them in the video, but I do post them on Brandy's Cards, and I will have them available. Now, in order to search for this video, you're going to want to search in the search bar in the top right-hand corner. Type in there Picture Perfect, or you can type in there Hummingbird, and this card should come up. And if all else fails, send me an email, and I will absolutely send you the link to where you can find this card to recreate it, okay? That is my goal, is to give you guys some ideas that you can recreate or maybe make your own, okay? Whisper White paper, we're gonna fold this guy in half. We're just making our base right now. So what I'm gonna do here is what I like to do, and you might find a better way. I like to just go ahead and position my stripes on my card. And the reason that I do that is because I just sort of want to get an idea of my spacing before I add my adhesive. Because if you're like me, you get ahead of the game, and then all of a sudden the spacing doesn't turn out right and you're like, rats, right? So just get that spacing right first. And then you just don't have to worry as much. When you just glue those down, everything should fall into place beautifully, and your spacing will be right. So I like to do that first. So I have my spacing, I'm putting the second one down. Now let's add the third. And once I get this third one on here, there we go, we're gonna add that just like that. Perfect. Okay, so our base is almost done. I mean, that was pretty simple, right? So here we go, I've got my squares. And so I have soft sky, and this is actually, I do know the sizes by, off the top of my head. This one is actually 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then my cucumber crush is a 3 by 3 square. Yep, it's a 3 by 3 square. And then this guy is actually a 3, it's actually what, 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And that's gonna fit right on the inside. Before I glue that down though, let's stamp our hummingbird. I love hummingbirds. I just think they're amazing. If you can catch a sight of them, the quick little guys, I have to say. So let's see, there's 3 stamps here. You've got one stamp that is the hummingbird that is basically, well, let me just stamp it and show you. It's going to give you more coverage, I suppose. Do you see that there? So this is going to be the other 2 stamps are going to add more dimension as you stamp on them. So this one is beautiful, and what I like is the dimension leaves a little bit of room so that you can see some of this soft sky through it. So that's what I love. Now, yes, I am going to stamp this guy 2 or 3 times. And why am I doing that? Well, because he's a little bit trickier, only because he has, because he's got so much dimension to him. So I'm going to stamp him a couple of times just to make sure that I can pick the one that I like. I'm also going to use his wing in kind of a fun, clever way. Here is the second stamp. So this one is fantastic. This one is the next step, and I'm using this one in Tempting Turquoise. Now this one's going to have a little bit more dimension, and I'm sure you can see that. Now you'll also notice this little knobby do here on the top of the stamps. That is so you can position it in the same place on your paper. So I am just going to try to line this up, stamp it straight down, straight up. Wow, that one turned out super. Love it. So there you go. There's one. And like I said, I like to stamp multiples of this little guy only because, it just, well, it doesn't hurt because then I can pick out which one I like the best. All right, so let's go up here to this one and we're gonna stamp straight down, straight up. All right, and I'm gonna stamp one more on this one. There we go. Wow, that turned out fantastic. Oh my gosh, I love those. Okay, so I'm excited. I've got 4 here, although I can already see that I stamped the one a wee bit close to the guy's, to his wing, and I don't want to ruin that wing, so we just might have to, improvise on that one. All right, so now I'm inking up the most detailed one in black, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm going to stamp it straight down and straight up. And so you want to ink it up really good in your stays on and your ink. And you're just going to, you're going to take it straight down and straight up. And let's do it again over here. And I've got to line it up. Remember, you can kind of line it. Oh my gosh, it turned out great. So you can kind of line it up with a little knob, the little knob you do at the top. That was brilliant, whoever came up with that idea. I appreciate it in a big way because it really does. It's very helpful when you're stamping. Okay, so now I'm going to just take this little piece of scrap paper from over here on the side, and I don't want to get this on his wing. So, I've got 4 great birds here, and I just, I don't want to. Oh my gosh, they all turned out great. And I don't want to get it on his wing. So we're going to cut him out. So that's okay that his little, I guess, beak, if you will, didn't get perfect. Okay, so this is another part of that. It also has a little knobby do on there. I just kind of like it because I think that it just makes a really kind of colorful bird. So I have Daffodil Delight. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight and I'm going to kind of line it up with his neck, just like that. Now, I also liked it up here on his wing. And that was kind of improvising, not too sure if that's how it's supposed to be or not, but I loved the color. And I just thought, you know, the more colorful my hummingbird, the better. And I've seen so many different ways to do this guy. So you know what? Pull up a picture of a hummingbird. That's what I do, is I just Google hummingbirds, or I Google birds, and I just look to see what I like. I mean, you know, and then I just try to think of ways to kind of recreate that. So I just stamped my hummingbird. He looks great. I added his pretty yellow Daffodil Delight feathers. Now I'm going to add a little bit of orange. And again, the only reason that I'm doing that is just for a little bit more contrast. I'm going to stamp off to the side, and I'm just going to use the edge of my stamp to add that yellow. I don't want a ton of, orange. I don't want a ton of orange, so I'm just going to stamp off. And it's honestly just to get a little bit of color. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And it's just to get a little bit of color. Now, I have not tried this on the wing. No reason why you can't. You certainly can. I just haven't. Okay, so my bird is done. We are like almost done with this card, and it's turned out beautifully. So I'm gonna move my pierce pad out of the way. The only reason that I use the pierce pad is because of the photopolymer stamp. Otherwise, I would have just used my table. It's perfectly fine. Now, yes, I did fussy cut my bird out, and I'm not going to fussy cut all of these birds out for you today. I'm only gonna cut 2, and I'm gonna put the other 2 aside because I'm gonna use those on a card to send one of you guys. That's right. I love to send cards to my customers, my family, and my friends. And so I encourage you to do the same thing. Not to mention, when I make a card, I always have to keep an extra because it helps me with inspiration when I go back and look at them. So it's always good to have a card that you've made to send and a card that you've made to archive, if you will. All right. So I'm just cutting my bird right now. I'm just cutting him out. You know, I love to fussy cut. It doesn't bother me. But again, as we've talked about in the past, I don't really worry too much about getting it perfect. It's on white, so I don't really feel that it has to be totally perfect. So here I'm gonna, I just had to cut my bird. I feel bad cutting his body off. But here's his wing, and we're just gonna cut out this last wing, and I'm going to show you exactly how I kind of made him look like he was in flight. And you know, while we're at it, we could certainly try to use his tail too. I didn't cut his tail, so we can certainly try to do that and see how that looks, see if you guys like that. And you know, I really liked the fact that he kind of looked like he was flying. Kind of gave him a little bit of dimension. He was perfectly fine flat. But with that dimension, it really added a little something, so it's kind of nice. All right, we're gonna move all of that out of the way. We have all of our parts and pieces. Before we do anything, what do we have to do? That's right, we have to stamp our greeting first because there are 2 sides to every single piece of paper. And if I don't do that, then I will most likely stamp it and go, oh man. You know, and especially if you glue your bird down. So, I am using Dream Without Fear, Love Without Limits. What a beautiful saying. And that saying actually came inside of the stamp set, okay? So I like to just go ahead and I'm just gonna stamp it twice just because I'm gonna flip it over and stamp it on the other side. I like options. I don't know about you, but I like to have options, and I honestly liked that one better. So that's what I'm talking about. Options are okay. So let's take this aside. Let's glue our piece down. We're gonna glue this 2 3/4 piece by 2 3/4 on top of our 3 by 3 square, just like that. And then we're gonna add our hummingbird. I've got some Stampin' Dimensional. These things rock, fantastic. You will love them if you try them. I promise you that. And we're gonna add those on top. I just put 3. You could certainly put more if you can, but there's not a whole lot of room for more, but you could certainly try. And let's see, I kind of liked him in flight, in motion, so I'm gonna sort of put him just like that. Here's his wing. This is the wing that we just did for him. And see that? I'm gonna kind of bring it forward a little bit so it looks like he is in motion. Now I found the easiest way to do that are your mini glue dots. You can use Tombow glue, but I just don't think it's as easy or as fast. So I'm just kind of bringing his wing forward and doing it just like that. So it kind of looks like he might be flying. Now you can certainly cut a small piece of your Stampin' Dimensional if you would like. You certainly don't have to, but I would if I were you, just cut a small piece and then add that right under this wing so it kind of gives it separation. You'll see I have his tail right here. You know, we could do the exact same thing with his tail if you wanted to. We could put a Stampin' Dimensional behind his tail, and you just kind of, you know, make it sort of off of him a little bit, and that gives him that impression of in flight and flying, and that is what I love about hummingbirds. They are just so fast and zippy and, you know, oh, that's just so cool. So we are almost done. Let's put our Stampin' Dimensionals behind our card. And yes, I probably am a little bit of overkill on my Stampin' Dimensionals, but I love them. And I like it to be nice and secure on my card. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick this to the center, just like that. Oh my goodness. So that is today's card with the fabulous hummingbird from the Picture Perfect stamp set. I don't know how you could create that if you didn't have those 3 stamps, those 3 different steps. It is absolutely stunning. I think it's beautifully done. Again, you could play with the colors. You could, you know, try him in greens and really kind of get creative with some reds. So here, check this out. I'm going to show you a couple of the other cards that I made with this stamp set. I've got, this is the Starfish, also from that Picture Perfect stamp set. Love the Starfish. Now the Starfish is actually stamped here in the back. This is also Soft Sky, but it's stamped in Pool Party so that you kind of see it a little bit more. And then you'll see here Fear Not, and that is this Fear Not verse is from Isaiah 41:10, and that is out of the Rose Wonder stamp set. Very beautiful and very encouraging. I just really, really liked it. Also the rose, and this is the video that is yet to come, so watch for that. This one is Always Kind, Always Giving, Always There, and it is just so beautiful. This background is from the Timeless Textures, so hang tight, that video is coming. But I hope that you have enjoyed today's cards and today's projects. You know, before I let you go, I will show you that this hummingbird, I did this card without the Soft Sky in the background. So take a look here at the 2 of those. You know, just depending on which you liked better, you can see the difference in the 2. So I hope that you enjoyed today's project. I hope you give your hummingbird a try. Of course, the rose or the starfish, they're all beautiful. I would love to see what you come up with. Send me an email. Don't forget to email me if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Catalog. I'd love to send you one. Answer any questions you have. And if you're interested in becoming a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, let me know. I'd love for you to join my team as well. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you have a blessed day.